This video is basically going to entail my 10 top tips on how you can travel the UK kind of as cheap as I do. I mean, I travel the UK on a weekly, monthly basis and kind of do these expeditions to here, there and everywhere. And believe it or not, it doesn't cost me hundreds of pounds each time I do it because I wouldn't be able to afford it. So these are going to be my top 10 travel tips of how I managed to travel the UK on such a cheap budget. Number one! Now, number one. This is accommodation. Now, Airbnb is something I've used in the past, and I'm sure probably some of you watching this video might have used as well. Now, the best thing with Airbnb is it's really cheap, and it's got absolutely anything on there. I mean, it's got like tree houses, you can have a jacuzzi, you can have a spa, you can have whatever you want. And they're all over the UK, and it's just brilliant to try and find one. You can get ones for sometimes like £10 a night, which are really good. And it's just a really cheap way to travel, to be honest. I mean, I found hostels through this way. And there's just loads of different places, so check out Airbnb for accommodation. Number two! Sound like a ghost there. Let's try again. Number two. That's right, number two. Now, number two is all about camping. Now, camping's probably going to be one of your best ways to kind of stay away from the really expensive places when you're looking for accommodation. You can find fields for like £5 a night. I found one for £4 a night once. And they're all over, literally all you search is campsite, wherever you're going, and there'll be hundreds that come up, absolutely hundreds. Any farmer with a field has got a campsite pretty much, so campsite's the best way to avoid really expensive accommodation. And you've got your water, you've usually got somewhere to cook, perhaps somewhere to wash, showers or whatever. And even if you don't, it's just a safe place to leave your stuff in your tent, and you don't have to worry about it. So yeah, camping is one of the best ways to avoid really expensive accommodation. Rhys's last top tip on accommodation. Number three, yes. Now, number three is the last one I've got on accommodation today, and I've obviously got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10, all based on different things. Now, number three is a bothy. You might not have heard of bothies before, so I'll leave the link below, and I think there's a picture of the website now. So, bothies. Now, bothies are free, which is kind of sounds great, to be honest, because tell you what, free accommodation never goes amiss with me, so I'm sure it won't go amiss with you. And you can stop under some absolutely amazing places. They're usually in, I think there's some in North Wales, there's quite a few in Scotland. There's not, I don't think there's any in England. There might be one in the Lake District, I think that's about it. So there's probably about 9, 10 of these things, and basically they're just old kind of miners' shacks or kind of slate shacks, or it can be anything sometimes. I mean, there's one in the Brecon Beacons that sits next to a reservoir, and it's where the workers used to have their tea breaks and that sort of thing when they were working the horses, and now it's a bothy. And there's bunk beds usually, and they've got log burning stoves and that sort of stuff, so it's really great. You can't book it. You kind of just have to turn up and see what's going on, which is sometimes a worry to some people, that perhaps someone else might be there, so just be wary of that perhaps, and always have backup is my kind of saying with that one. But bothies are really, well, they're free. It's one of the best ways to travel on a really tight budget, so check out them in the link below. Number four is all about travel, and this is trains. Now, believe it or not, trains are going to be one of your best ways when travelling the UK to get around, because they're so interlinked with absolutely everywhere, and it's so quick as well, especially if you get some of the Virgin trains, or the London Midlands or the East Midlands. They've got some really fast trains around the UK, and you can be within Glasgow within 3-4 hours from Birmingham, from London to Glasgow in about 6. Now, trains, the only issue is they are really expensive, so the best way that I can kind of advise you on keeping trains cheap is to book in advance by about 6 weeks, I think it is. And if you book in that sort of advance, you can sometimes get about 20-30% off the actual price, which is brilliant, especially when you're going towards London and up towards Scotland as well. This is definitely something to try, because there's nothing worse than coming to a few days before your trip and thinking, haven't booked my train tickets, and you go onto the train website and they have gone up an extortionate amount just because you've left it at the last minute. So with train tickets, book them well in advance and they will stay reasonably cheap, but train journeys are going to be expensive. 5! Yes, number 5. Now, 5 is coach travel. Now, coach travel is probably one of the cheapest ways I've found about getting around the UK. They're not as well interlinked as the trains, if you like, but they are so cheap. I mean, I can go from Birmingham to Cardiff for, I think it's about £5, which is mad because I think the train's 70. So, you know, Coach Travel's amazing. It's the National Express website. That'll be below in the description as well for you to check out. But just go on the £5 fares, try and see where you can kind of go for £5, because they will also stitch you up like the train company if you don't watch it. Because, I mean, there's some that if you don't click on the £5 one, they can sometimes go up to about £30 just because you haven't clicked a certain button, and it's a bit crafty like that. But if you click on the £5 kind of sign on the website, you'll see it now. That's it. So if you click on that, then you should be pretty good to go with the coaches. It might be a very long journey, to be honest. I mean, Birmingham to Glasgow is like 9 hours, but I think it's £5, and on the train it's about £200. So, you know, that's a huge saving for what it is. So check out Coach Travel if you don't mind a really long, probably quite strenuous journey. 666, it's number 6. Number 6, yes. Number 6 is walking. Now, that probably seems pretty obvious, and you're probably looking at your computer screen, your phone screen, and thinking, well, duh. That's because people do not do it, okay? I'm telling you from personal experience, I know many people who will simply get on the bus, get on the train somewhere that might be a couple of miles away, and sometimes you might save like 5, 6, 7 quid. And that's 5, 6, 7 quid you could perhaps spend on dinner or lunch, or, you know, tomorrow's breakfast. And when you think of it, all the kind of times you might use the bus or the train, it adds up. It's ultimately kind of gonna, you know, damage your budget. So, you know, if you can, then do walk, you know, especially taxis. Taxis will kill your budget when you're away. So just avoid them, simply, you know. As I said, if it's a couple of miles, then walk it. You know, there's no reason not to. But then also, you know, if it's a sweltering hot day, and you're trying to go somewhere and it's a couple of miles away and there's a bus, you know, don't ruin your day trying to kind of save your budget, if you like. You know, if the bus is throw like 3, 4 quid, and it's a couple of miles, it might take you like an hour to cover, and you're going to get there and be hot and sweat and sticky, then just avoid it, you know, just get the bus. So yeah, you know, walking is a really good way to get around, but just kind of do it in, you know, to a limitation, if you like. Number 7, yes, we're here already. This is a very long video, but we are getting there. So number 7. Now, this is actually bus travel, which kind of links into the last one, if you like. Bus travel is a really cheap way to get around if you're not using it all the time, and sometimes some of the day savers they have in an area can be so good. You know, when I was at Anglesey this summer, we got around practically by bus, because I think it was about £5 for the day. We got, you know, like 3, 4 buses a day. We cover like half the island in that, so it was brilliant. Bus travel is one of the cheapest ways to get around an island, definitely, to get around anywhere really. Scotland, if you're going from Glasgow to, and you want to get to, I don't know, Ben Nevis or the foot of it, there's a bus that goes straight there for about £10, and it covers about like 40 miles or something. So, you know, check things out like that out. You've got the internet, you know, search it. But buses are just amazing. Try and get the timetables before you get there. I did that with Anglesey, and it really helped, to be honest, when you're wandering around and you're kind of like, where's the bus stop? And actually you've got a map there, so you know where it is. And bus travel is probably one of the best ways you're going to get around, so definitely check that one out. Number 8. Anyway, number 8. This is going to apply to those who kind of like to travel down to London a lot. Now, London is a very expensive place to get around, and I don't care what anyone says, I don't think the tubes are that cheap, to be honest. Especially if you're down there for a few days, the tubes do get expensive. I mean, I was down there last New Year's, and I was down there for about 3 days and spent probably about £30 on the tubes, going here, there and everywhere. They are so expensive, it's just ridiculous. So one of the best ways to avoid this is getting one of the Santander bikes. Now, the Santander bikes are absolutely amazing because they're about £2 for half an hour. And if you're crafty about it, they'll be £2 for the whole day. You see what I mean? Because the bike will come out for half an hour. If you return it to the docking station within half an hour, then it only costs you £2, and you can get it back out again within 5 minutes and go again. It'll only be £2. So with £2 for the entirety of the day, unless you go over that first initial half an hour. So yeah, there's definitely ways around the Santander bikes, but they are amazing. They're not the best bikes in the world, I have to be honest. They're very heavy, they're very clunky. But yeah, they're good. So definitely check those ones out. Number 9 is what to do with food. Food is probably also, I mean, they're all going to be pretty expensive because it's the UK at the end of the day. But food's something you can definitely avoid kind of spending an absolute extortionate amount on. I mean, I go away all the time, and you go into these country pubs, and you can pay like £30 for a meal for two, if not even more, and it really blows a hole in that kind of budget you've set aside. So to avoid that, just go shopping beforehand, go to the supermarkets. Even if there's a co-op or something like that, it might not be ridiculously cheap as a supermarket, but it's going to be cheaper than that main meal in the pub right next to your campsite that you're kind of wanting to go into. If you really want to go into a pub on the evening, then just go in and grab a drink, go and perhaps have a dessert. I do that sometimes, but sometimes paying for a whole meal, especially if there's two of you, it can just blow such a hole in your budget. Places like, I go to Aldi before I go away personally, Asda as well, and just shopping there, you can get some really cheap deals. I can, fill my expedition sack with things like noodles and porridge pots and that sort of stuff. It's just really lightweight to carry, it's really cheap. So yeah, just do your shopping for your food before you go away. Number 10, oh my god, we're finally here at last. My legs are absolutely killing and I've started to cramp, so this will be quick. But number 10 is pretty much just going to be, don't be stupid with your money when you're away. Just budget for it. If you're away for 2 weeks and you've got £200, don't go into the local gift shop on the first day and blow like 70 quid on a bag of shells, or I don't know, whatever you sort of buy in those sort of shops. I've done it before, I'm sure you've done it before, we all do it. But just don't be stupid with it. If you've got a budget, try and stick to it, and it's the best thing to do. Try and book things before you get there rather than doing it when you get there. That's another kind of thing that you can do to save your money. But yeah, those are my kind of top 10 travel tips for today. So I hope you've enjoyed them. I need to stand up and stretch my legs now because I am in utter agony. And I'll see you soon, guys. So yeah, those are my top 10 travel tips for travelling the UK.